Fasten your chin strap and put your pads on. Get a grip on the bat, here comes a fastball. We ain't going one and done, we're here to last long. This the top of the standards, get ready to blast off. Alright, let's do this. Bang! Bang! Every Sunday afternoon, big sports fanatics coming out your speakers like a piston running with magic. Game time status good to go is automatic. Ready for the blowouts and the instant classics. Calling all the teachers, all the fathers and the mothers. Calling all the kids, all the sisters and the brothers. Dynamic high schoolers in the game like no other preseason. Game 7s, hey, y'all know we got it covered. From the finals to the Super Bowl to the World Series to the Stanley Cup final. Over here we spit it clearly. Andrew Hale and Jotham Israel coming with the hottest topics. Hey, you know what's up with sports. People wanting it, we got it. Yeah, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Yo, get in the game. It's the top of the standards, man. Get in the game. It's the top of the standards. Come on.
Yeah, top of the standards. That's what it's about, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, season 2 is here, baby. Yes, Jotham Israel and Andrew Hale, we're back and better than ever. Yes, we got a ton of sports to talk about, as always. And yes, I can rap. I produced the song, I wrote the lyrics, and I rapped it. That is my voice. Yes, you guys better believe it. But before we get started,
we wanted to let you know that Top of the Standings is brought to you by Anchor. Anchor is a completely free and easy-to-use platform for podcasting. A computer or even a mobile device with a functional internal or external microphone is all you need to start recording your podcast with Anchor. When you do finish recording your podcast audio, you can simply edit it and upload it to the biggest podcasting platforms like iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and more. 4 months and 16 episodes of Top of the Standings is walking proof of Anchor's usefulness. If you don't know how to start a podcast, Anchor is the perfect place to start. For more information, go to anchor.fm on the web or download the Anchor app on your mobile device.
You know, there were teams that ate bigger dubs than my breakfast here. So teams like the Buffalo Bills. Dude, circle the freaking wagons. I've been saying it all year long, bro. They are so good.
Yeah, they are. I would put them the best team behind the Chiefs, in my opinion, right now. Remaining teams in the playoffs. I'm not putting them ahead yet. Let's say Patrick Mahomes is out next week, then sure, I'll put them ahead. But if Patrick Mahomes is out there, I'm putting them as the second best team behind the Chiefs. That's all I got to say. I do think the Bills are a very good team, and I do think they have a chance to beat the Chiefs and head on to the Super Bowl.
With or without Mahomes, the Bills are going to the Super Bowl, man. In my opinion.
Ooh, first hot take of the day. Just like your.
It's a hot take. I've been waiting almost a year for.
I like it, and I'm not mad at it because I could see it happening. I really could. But let's say the Browns won, and you said the Browns are going to the Super Bowl. Then I would have been a little skeptical. But since it's the Bills and the Bills are a fantastic team, I will respect that hot take.
Now, if I were to say the Steelers, then you would probably be like,
no chance. No chance. No chance.
Oh my gosh. We sure thought it was going to be Steelers Chiefs, didn't we?
I didn't. When they were 11-0, I knew they weren't that good. I'm going to be honest with you. I knew it. I could tell because they didn't really have too many impressive wins. They had wins over teams that were hurt, wins over teams that were COVID riddled, so many different, weak wins in my opinion, and then we saw their true colors towards the end of their, decent season.
They got a lot of help from the NFC East too.
Yeah.
Outside of Washington.
That is true.
The mere fact that soon as they lost to Washington, we already knew.
It's like there it is, because once a team is undefeated and then they lose that one game, that can derail an entire season. I mean, we kind of saw in other sports like Michigan State this season. They were 6-0 heading into conference play, and then they dropped. And then you can make the argument for any other team, like the Patriots when they were undefeated, they lost in the Super Bowl. It's really tough to stay undefeated and keep at that high level of play.
Yeah, it is so hard, but you know what? Not the Steelers. It's about the Buffalo Bills, baby. What a performance. They've won 2 playoff games, both with their offense and their defense. and that is dangerous. That is so dangerous for me because it's like, bro, they held Lamar Jackson to 3 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of weird stuff going on in that game. I mean, that was the weirdest Ravens game I've ever watched in my life, bro. What happened to Justin Tucker?
Dude, I'm not even gonna blame him for missing those two because if you saw the wind, you could see the goalpost absolutely shaking while he was about to kick. They were shaking back and forth, and even the Bills missed a few kicks as well. So nothing wrong with missing in those monsoon conditions.
Yeah, you're right. It's just so unusual
It is.
to see Justin Tucker miss a field goal, multiple field goals in the same game. That's unusual. That is foreign to me.
It is. It is really weird because behind Matt Prater, I think he's the best kicker in the league. I gotta stay loyal to my boy Matt Prater, who has the most field goals beyond 50 yards. So
Just wow, dude. And it's sad too because I mean the Ravens could have used those points. They
Yeah.
really could have. They had a lot of scoring opportunities, but left a lot of points on the field and off of the board. Obviously the field goals they got in the red zone twice, couldn't cash in, and I mean, yikes, man.
Yeah.
That was just a bad night. I mean,
And the game was relatively close until that pick six. That really won them the game. Up until then, it was the doors were open for any team to win, and then after that 101-yard pick six, game over.
that was one of the most hype plays I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, because you don't really see those that often, and when they do happen, most of the time they are pick sixes or get really close to being pick sixes, and that time we saw a 101-yard playoff pick six. Awesome.
All I gotta say is I'm glad Tre'Davious White was there to block because Lamar Jackson kind of had nickel, and I'm like, oh no, he gonna run it. Oh man, take it all the way, coast to coast, Taron Johnson, all the way, coast to coast.
It was reminding me of the DK Metcalf tackle running all the way down the field to prevent a touchdown. Obviously, he didn't prevent the touchdown, and they scored, but that's what it was looking like for a few seconds.
Yeah, I know, right? But Tre'Davious White, that's why he's all pro. You know what I'm saying? Pro bowler, I should say.
Mhm.
And that Bills defense starting to resemble itself from last year, man. And it's looking dangerous, looking real dangerous.
Dude, I'm heated because it would have been even more dangerous if the Browns were able to pull off the upset.
You know they had their chance, man. And Andrew, I say it all the time. The Chiefs get away with a game with one stupid, insane play that keeps them from losing the game. New Orleans, it was the fumble out of the end zone that turned out to be a safety and not a touchdown. It turned out to be the third down conversions in 2-minute drills against Miami and Tampa Bay. And it's just like, oh my gosh, dude.
I have another example. Not this season, but last season when they played the Lions. That crazy, I think it was probably 99-yard return fumble after everyone thought it was down. It didn't end up being down, and that's basically how they won the game. The Chiefs, they are kind of turning into the Patriots, getting the luck of the draw with these referees. I guess that's what happens when you win a Super Bowl.
And that's what happens when you're one of the most prolific figures in the league.
That is true.
Prolific quarterbacks in the league, I should say, because running backs don't really get that kind of treatment. It's these quarterbacks. It's like, dude.
It pained me to see a team who hasn't had success go out like that. It was all too familiar for me.
I know you were there like just patting Browns fans in the back. Like, I mean,
at least they won a game. At least they won a playoff game. I'm happy for them for that.
Yeah. Yes, they have nothing to hang their heads about, especially after beating the Steelers like that.
And they were very close to beating the reigning Super Bowl champions. So, I mean, I think they have a very good future ahead of them.
Oh, very good. Dude, that Browns win changed the entire complexion of the AFC North.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, I think the Browns will win the division next year because the Ravens are going downhill. The Steelers are definitely going downhill. I don't know if the Bengals can get there yet. We'll see what happens with Joe Burrow if they make an insane jump. But look, the Browns are looking really good, and their future is bright, man. I'm so glad I can see a good Cleveland Browns team in my life.
It's so much fun to watch, and I still can't believe that they were literally inches away from winning that game yesterday. Inches away. If there wasn't helmet to helmet hit, or a fumble out of the end zone for a touchback, we could have seen a Browns Bills AFC championship game. That would have been wild. Who would have thought, like 5 years ago, we would have seen the Bills and the Browns for a chance to go to the Super Bowl? That would have been so awesome.
Bills would have been the first team in NFL history to host 3 playoff games in the same postseason.
Come on, Chiefs. I'm kind of a fan of the Chiefs, but I was pulling for the Browns yesterday.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs too. I'm not gonna lie. You probably hear me saying I want this team to beat the Chiefs a lot. I'm not a Chiefs hater. I love Patrick Mahomes. I am not hating on these guys. I just really, I love me a good underdog.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree.
Actually, as a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind any of these teams remaining. I wouldn't mind any team that is left to win the Super Bowl. I really wouldn't.
I would. I would. I would. Please, Tampa Bay. I beg you, please beat the Packers. I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers win the MVP and the Super Bowl in the same year. I just no, please. No.
Aaron Rodgers has one. He only has one, Drew.
Gross, dude. And I think the Bucs have a good chance, though. Realistically, I do think they have a very good chance. After what they did to them earlier this season, that blowout, well, the Green Bay Packers were still undefeated at the time. To blow them out that big, I feel like that should give the Bucs a lot of confidence heading into this next one.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be a great one. And you know what? We might as well pick these 2 games. Wow, we haven't had this few games to pick all season long.
It is weird. It is very odd.
Wow. So the Packers coming off that win against the Rams, which was your typical Packers game. They get off to a hot start, fizzle out a little bit in the third quarter, snooze a little bit, and then come back with a flurry of knockout punches.
Yeah.
Typical Packers.
Yeah, if you didn't expect the Rams to win, this is the game you kind of imagined. Like there wasn't anything random or wild that happened. It was, like you said, a normal Packers game. And I don't know. I think I really was impressed by what the Bucs did on defense last night against the Saints. That was what a performance. Devin White, oh my gosh, he was fantastic. One of the best defensive performances I've seen by a player in a long time. He was killing it. I told you Devin White coming back was going to be key. I told you last week. And not that you opposed to it, but I said it. Yeah, you did, and he, like you said, he performed fantastically. I mean, what a performance! I mean, when you kind of end Drew Brees' career with 4 turnovers, that's just disrespectful. What a sour way to go out. And the Bucs, they finally got that win over the Saints. Again, the Saints looking pretty lackluster, like I saw against the Bears. They really didn't look too good. You couldn't even target Michael Thomas until probably the fourth quarter. So the Saints, I don't think they would have had a good opportunity to beat the Packers. But hey, we have the Bucs and the Packers now. I really like that Bucs defense. Their offense is lethal. Obviously, they have so many weapons, so many good players on that offense. That's why I want to see Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, like we saw in the Stanley Cup and in the World Series. And, I mean, we didn't see Tampa Bay in the NBA Finals, but we saw Miami. So, Florida. That's what I'm picking. And I really do think that if the Bucs defense comes to play like they did against the Saints, I think they should have a good and, a good, I wouldn't say easy ride, but a very, very good chance to make it to the Super Bowl.
So, you're picking the Bucs?
I am.
Okay. We're both in agreement. I don't think the Packers are going to be in too good of a shape. I really don't, because I'm sorry. I know this is going to sound crazy, but in this situation, I don't know if I have all the faith in the world on Aaron Rodgers. I really don't, because we can hype up him all the time about, oh my goodness, Aaron Rodgers, NFC Championship, 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Let's go. How many times have we heard this story, bro? I know this is the first time he's had an NFC Championship in Lambeau Field, which is insane. I had no idea. I had no idea it was there. It was Aaron Rodgers' first NFC Championship game starting in Lambeau Field. I think I was the first one for the Packers since Brett Favre was the quarterback in 2008 when the Giants won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I was like, whoa. But, man, Packers don't have too much luck in the NFC Championship, man. It's pretty bad. The only quarterback that Aaron Rodgers managed to beat in the NFC Championship was Jay Cutler, of all quarterbacks.
That's actually kind of funny. That is actually hilarious. That the only quarterback he was able to beat was, almost infamous for how bad he was. That's actually funny. But dude, the Packers, I mean, they looked good against the Rams. They did, but not so impressive that it's an automatic Super Bowl bid, in my opinion. Like if they would have gone out and absolutely destroyed them and left the Rams for dead, then I would have been like, uh-oh, they might look a little bit scary. But what we saw from that Bucs defense, I can't get over it. They were fantastic. I was so impressed.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, look, they have to deal with Aaron Donald with a rib injury, no Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff coming off a sprained thumb surgery. Obviously, the Rams weren't at their best. I'm not using injuries as an excuse because football is football. Next man up mentality, all that stuff. But the fact that the Rams got back in that game with how their roster was looking, I can only imagine what Tampa Bay is going to do for a second time.
Yeah, and towards the end of the game, the Rams really ran down the field very productively. And what we saw yesterday from the Bucs, their run game was on. They looked really, really good.
Yeah, and Rojo's got another week to get healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And, Leonard Fournette is carrying the rock, bro. I'm glad to see him being running back again.
Yeah, I think it's really good to see him on a good team, especially because we know Leonard Fournette. We know what he can do. We know how productive he can be, how good he can be. One of the best running backs in the league, in my opinion. Probably not this year, but once was fantastic in college. But now he's finally on a productive team and can really show what he can do.
Yes, I love it, bro. And you know what? Tampa Bay probably going to be the first team ever to host a Super Bowl. Wow.
Yeah, that is very cool. That I didn't even realize that till right now. I mean, I knew that it could have happened, but now you put that picture in my head. They're one step away from getting there. That's really cool.
Yeah. Only thing is, last time it happened, it almost happened. Vikings got ran out of Philly.
Yeah, that was an ugly game. It was over from the jump, really.
Yeah. Although Stephon Diggs was a part of that, but now he's a part of another conference championship. This time, instead of Philly, it's Kansas City. Those Chiefs, we probably know where one of us is going to go and where the other is going to go. I know you're picking the Chiefs because of the never bet against Patrick Mahomes formula, and I'm going to pick the Bills because of the never bet against Patrick Mahomes until he loses formula.
Yeah. So you are right with who I'm going to pick, but let's say the Bills do pull this upset. I'm already previewing my pick for the Super Bowl. It's going to be the Bills. But if they can get over the best team in the NFL, they're good enough to win. But those play calls that we saw yesterday from the Chiefs, those are what win team Super Bowls, because what we saw was so bold. Some of the craziest play calls that I've ever seen, especially after Patrick Mahomes went out with a concussion. Who knows if he's going to play next week? It's crazy. I mean, they are so bold. They are very impressive with their play calls. Very sneaky, very, unpredictable. And I think that's what makes them very dangerous. Obviously, Tyreek Hill was good, but their run game was very impressive. And it's crazy that they're not even really using Le'Veon Bell that much at all. That's why it's very sneaky what the Chiefs have done. But it's gonna be very, very, very exciting. I just think that the Chiefs have been here before, especially with Patrick Mahomes, and I think that's what's gonna propel them over the hump. Not to say that the Bills are a bad team. Obviously, I think they're the second best team in the league, but their offense is gonna need to show up, and their defense is going to need to show up as well. Because if their defense doesn't show up, it could get ugly.
Yeah, and you know what? We've seen both sides of the Bills. We've seen Josh Allen dazzle against the Colts. We've seen the defense absolutely stymie the Ravens. Now, this is a game where they need to put it all together because you're going to need, like the Browns showed you, and like the Saints and the Dolphins and all the teams that the Chiefs have beaten have shown you, you need to be absolutely perfect to beat this team.
Yeah, and from what I saw from the Bills, their offense was kind of disappointing in my opinion. They really didn't get going the entire game until probably the pick six. But up until that, I've definitely seen better offensive performances from them.
Yeah, but you know what? They faced two of the best defenses in the NFL. And, you can't blame them for winning those games, really, because, I mean, you play to win the game, not to score points, but you play to win the game. And however you win in the playoffs is how you win. And the Colts defense and the Ravens defense, those are two tough defenses. The Chiefs, their defenses, they're great, but they're not as good as the Ravens or the Colts defensively. They've had, some let-ups, especially in the second half. And obviously the Chiefs just played the Browns, and the Browns, I thought their, secondary was sus, but, only held them to 22 points. They held them down. They did enough to keep the Browns in the game. But yeah, I'm just scared about that Bills offense. I think, the Bills can score 4 touchdowns against that defense.
I kind of disagree because I think that Chiefs secondary is very good. I really do. I feel like what we saw yesterday, we saw an interception, obviously, probably not Baker's fault, but all year we have seen Tyrann Mathieu come up with some very, very big interceptions. He had one yesterday and then dropped one, so he almost had 2. But he's a really good player in that secondary, a team captain, a leader, and they're just a really hard-hitting defense. We saw it from the touchback and the helmet-to-helmet hit, but I feel like they would do anything to obviously prevent a touchdown, and we saw that yesterday. I do think that they're a very good team who has the opportunity to shut down an offense like the Bills, especially since the Bills haven't really gotten going, obviously playing, like you said, a few really good defenses. But I do think this matchup is going to be very good. I do think that the Bills need to connect more downfield shots. Obviously, we saw the Wind take a few last game, but other than like the Wind, they were a lot of overthrows and kind of inaccurate passes. But if they expect to win this game, they need to connect on those.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Either way you slice it, conference championship week is here, and you know what? I'm glad we got here. But obviously we still got the Super Bowl to play. But man, the NFL actually completed this season. They actually are 3 games away from completing this season. I don't believe it.
Who would have thought? I didn't. We saw breakouts from all types of teams. Titans, the Patriots, I believe. Almost every team had a little bit of a breakout. Even the Lions towards the end of the season. But every single team, they got there. And, we had a kind of a wacky schedule in there. But, like you said, 3 games away from, the ultimate game.
Yeah, we haven't had a Wednesday game since, last month or something like that. It's weird looking back. When you see all those Monday afternoon games and Tuesday games and Wednesday games.
Yeah, it is weird.
I don't think we could have imagined a playoff game on a Monday or a Thursday.
Yeah, that would have been very odd.
Let me dive into the world of college basketball because we're doing this show and we're recording it on a Monday. We have the privilege to see the rankings come out.
Yeah, and I just gotta say one thing. It is so weird seeing all of these blue bloods unranked. It's weird. I mean, now it doesn't make me feel as bad for, Michigan State now that they haven't been, really good at all. But now we've seen Duke, Kentucky, both of those teams now, and Michigan State all out of the top 25, which is very, very weird.
I'm not used to seeing this, dude. I'm just not. This is weird. This is weird.
I think with that being said, I don't think we're going to see a blue blood even in the Final Four. Even in the Final Four, I don't see it happening. I don't.
I don't either. I mean, at this point, you might as well just smash in Wisconsin. I don't know, Texas Tech, freaking Texas.
Texas, yeah, I was going to say they have been very good. I mean, come on, they really have been impressive. But I don't know. I think that we might see a very weird team in there this year.
Maybe a team like, I don't know, St. Louis.
I would like it. That's our Loyola Chicago this year, 2020.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a story. That was something. That was one.
There's always that weird team. Even with South Carolina the other year, dude. It's weird.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just weird. It's just really weird. But you know what? This is what I love about college basketball. Teams get into the top 25 that you have never seen before. Like since when was Alabama and Clemson top 20 college basketball teams? We know college football, college basketball teams.
Dude, it is weird because I remember we had a conversation before of like teams that are both successful in basketball and football, and there's only been a select few who have actually gone to the playoffs and the Final Four. I know I can name Oregon. I know Michigan State has, probably Ohio State as well. But other than that, there aren't many teams that have been able to get it done in both football and basketball. Who knows? Maybe this is Clemson's year. They didn't win it in football, but maybe they can redeem themselves and win in basketball. Who knows?
That would be, oh boy. Now, one thing I want to touch up on Michigan, or scum in your eyes. Bro, so, okay, I get it. You blow out Wisconsin. You murder Wisconsin. But you turn around and get absolutely spanked by Minnesota, and you stay at the same spot.
Hey, does that sound familiar to last year? Does it? I think it does, a little bit.
I don't know what it is with this this little Michigan bias, but Drew, it's this is when you get blown out like that to a team that wasn't even in the top 20. I mean, obviously Minnesota's number 17 now, but dude, that's not a good look on Michigan. I mean, they still have Houston ranked below them. I still can't believe they're higher ranked than Kansas. I mean, Kansas lost to Oklahoma State, so I guess that's why. But, man, so after that loss, Wisconsin only drops one spot. They outscored them like 37-3 or something like that. It was like a long streak. I'm watching the game. And I'm like, dude, when was the last time Wisconsin scored? Can I see that ESPN score animation for Wisconsin side for once? Oh my gosh.
I don't get the rankings at all because, I mean, it is weird. Obviously, we don't follow all 25 teams, but some of these teams, they've kind of gotten in there a little bit, sneakily, because some of these teams, they really haven't had like the biggest name for themselves. I mean, we saw Illinois go from, I think, number 8 to now number 22, and they haven't really played that well either. It's weird. I mean, UConn back in there, in my opinion, a dynasty in both women's and men's college basketball. And like you said, St. Louis, we got some weird teams. Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and Virginia.
Wow. That's actually perfect. That is perfect.
That is weird.
Awesome.
That's kind of weird.
Weird? Really?
It is weird. It's random. Like UNC, Michigan State, Michigan, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan. That's weird.
Yeah, dude, that is. I mean, that's awesome. In my eyes, this is awesome.
Oh yeah.
College basketball heating up. Obviously, we got Kansas and Baylor coming up. I think later tonight. Oh, that should be a good game. Obviously, rooting for Baylor because Kansas. I'm trying to see Baylor win the Big 12 or something like that, or some other random.
I wouldn't go as that far for me, but you know, I don't like
Oh, I
Baylor.
forgot
I
about
don't
that.
like Baylor. Don't like Baylor. Don't like Kansas. Maybe you know Iowa State will get back in there.
Wait, you don't like Baylor?
Mm.
Oh, right.
No,
Oh, right. I
I've
forgot about
never
the.
really been a Baylor fan either. I mean, they're kind of annoying, in my
Oh,
opinion.
so
They're just
so the Cotton Bowl doesn't have much to do with it,
maybe a little bit, but it's just
but not like
I'm
not like.
not a fan of any team in Texas. I don't like Texas teams.
Dang, you think Texas fans? I know you said Texas fans are probably your worst fan, but you think like every single team based in Texas is that obnoxious?
Yeah, because they're. I mean, any team you look at in Texas, they're all going to be like, "Oh, we're the best in the country, no matter where we're ranked." Oh, Cowboys, America's team. You know, the Rangers, the Astros, all of them. All of them are, you know, just very. I wouldn't say. I mean, they're just. They think they're very good, and you know, I like the confidence. I guess I can respect it, but it's annoying.
You know, now that I think of it, you did bring up. Yeah, that is a good point. Obviously, the Cowboys with America's team. I don't know. Texas are kind of a laughingstock now. The San Antonio Spurs, pretty successful NBA franchise
Yep.
that people like.
Yep.
You know,
Beat the Pistons. You know. I don't really have anything against the Spurs though, because obviously I didn't watch the game. I was like one, but you know, I
you respect.
yeah, I'm fine with the Spurs. I really don't mind them. They really haven't done anything. But other than that, Texas sports are not my favorite at all.
Okay, I didn't expect beef from that state, but man, okay, I'll have to keep that in mind. So yeah, dude, but I do want to mention on the women's college basketball side of things, I seen that the number one team, Stanford, got upset by Colorado. There's not too often in women's college basketball that upsets happen because usually the women are absolutely killing themselves on the court.
Dude,
Absolutely
and very
killing.
productive as well. I mean, we saw that streak with UConn a few years ago. That was insane. I think they weren't they on like a 400 regular season game win streak or something like that.
Yeah, it was like they hadn't lost in so long. They won like three straight undefeated seasons or something like that.
And
Three straight.
I do remember watching them get upset in the Final Four. So
Oh,
that was it gets crazy sometimes. It does get crazy. I start to pay attention maybe around the Final Four a little bit.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I got my eyes peeled all season long, but I mean, when this under the radar, and I see teams that are unusual, I'm like, okay, let's see what we got here, and this is like, I mean, it's pretty interesting in my opinion because, like I said, I mean, the women's college basketball teams usually, kill themselves when it comes to, ranked teams versus unranked teams. Like for example, I saw Vanderbilt versus South Carolina. Not only did South Carolina beat them by 60, they held them scoreless in the entire second quarter.
That's kind of funny. That's hilarious. And I think I've seen that before too. Or even in men's basketball, it's crazy how productive and unproductive offense can be. I mean, sometimes you see teams only score like 10 points in an entire half, but no.
It's crazy. That's 20. That's for men's. It's 20-minute half. So
Yeah.
that's understandable for you to score. You had better score in a half. Otherwise, you're gonna get memed. But on the women's side, it's obviously split into four quarters instead of two halves. And the fact that I don't think I had ever seen. I'm pretty sure it's happened before, but I had never seen a scoreless women's college basketball quarter in my life. I was like, dude, the final score was 106-43. Like, yikes. Like, that's a beatdown.
I definitely think we do see more blowouts in women's college basketball for sure. 100% in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, I think they might need Sarah Fuller in that second quarter. They might have needed Sarah Fuller, low key. Get them a good 3 points, 3-point field goal.
Imagine a player punch the ball into the basket. That would be crazy.
That okay. That's that humans are awesome type stuff. But yeah, dude, college basketball is getting nuts on both sides.
Yeah, it is. And I like I say every time, I'm here for it. I'm here for the craziness.
Okay, update me on the NBA, dude, because I'm not feeling so good.
Okay. Yeah. I if anyone didn't know, Jotham's kind of a James Harden hater, and he did not like what he saw.
I am not a James Harden hater.
a little bit, a slight bit. But he did not like the trade to Brooklyn. He would have rather seen him go to the Sixers. I personally like the trade a lot, and what we saw in James Harden and Kevin Durant's first game in a Brooklyn Nets uniform was, like I said, it's exactly what I expected. James Harden dropped 30, and I think Kevin Durant dropped like 45. So this scoring duo is going to be fantastic. That's why I wanted it to happen. Obviously, the Nets kind of lost a ton of assets. A ton of assets. I mean, all of their young key players gone, basically, but I think it's worth it if you're trying to get to, the ultimate goal and win a finals. That's all you can ask for. I mean, I like the trade a lot. I think James Harden is a superstar in the league. I probably would have given up a few assets to get James Harden. Great player, and I think the Nets, I wouldn't put them as my number one seed right now. I'd still give that to Milwaukee, but they'll be up there, and I think they'll make a good run in the playoffs.
I don't see it's tough because I mean, first of all, can we just recognize that I know my facial expression didn't say it when you said it, but I completely forgot that James Harden got traded to the Nets until you said it. I blanked out. I'm like, wait, that happened. So that's one thing. But dude, I don't like the trade because of how much the Nets gave up.
That's
I mean,
fair.
I knew they had to give up some things for James Harden, but man, all that, not only the two best bench players that you got, but I won't say bench players because I don't know, Jared Allen started, but 4
Sometimes.
first-round picks.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
potential
4
picks.
swaps, so 8 picks.
Ugh, dude, that's too much for me. I mean, I understand the NBA is a pretty small league, so in order to get the biggest stars, you got to put up the biggest offers. But man, that is, I don't know if this is gonna work long term. I think the Nets are trying to win now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they were trying to win now when they signed KD and Kyrie originally, but man, now they're on that San Diego Padre type of stuff. Win now.
Exactly, and I guess I'm not mad at it, but the one crazy thing that came out of this, in my opinion, was that it wasn't only a trade for James Harden, but also Victor Oladipo going to the Rockets. That's crazy. I mean, I think I kind of knew that Oladipo wanted out from what, rumors of him, going up to players from other teams and like, hey, take me with you. I kind of expected a trade at some point. But in that trade is not even the trade deadline, and we've seen James Harden and Victor Oladipo get moved. It's crazy. But the real, almost miracle thing that came out of this, I don't know if you saw, but the Rockets, after getting Karis LeVert, traded him to obviously the Pacers for Victor Oladipo, and he had to get a physical and MRI, and that MRI kind of getting traded basically almost probably saved his life, because after that MRI they found out that he had a mass on his kidney, I believe. And
Yeah.
imagine if he didn't get traded, they probably would have never knew that was there. So that trade probably saved his life, which is insane.
Yeah, that could have been real bad, man. I saw it. I was like, wait, what? A mass on his kidney? Whoa, wait, what did he do? But it turned out it was. I don't know how.
Just imagine if he didn't get traded. He would have never gotten a physical, would have never gotten an MRI, and they probably would have never found it. That's insane.
Talk about a lifesaver in disguise.
Exactly. It was that was just crazy to me. And when he can come back, I think the Pacers have a good player in their backcourt. I mean, what he did in the bubble, and even in with his time with the Nets, he kind of turned into, I wouldn't say a superstar because he's not a superstar, but definitely a really good solid young player who has the potential to be a superstar.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the Rockets absolutely stole everything. They robbed everybody.
Oh, wait,
In
wait,
the,
wait, wait. I mentioned that it was a three-way trade, but it was also a four-way trade with Cleveland because Cleveland got Tarion Prince and Jared Allen. Dude, I completely forgot about that. That's insane.
now we're even.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, dude, that was. I don't know how to feel about. I think the Cavs. I don't. I mean, they're trying to become a playoff team, and I mean, I see it. Colin Sexton is, starting to blossom just a little bit, just under the radar, just a little bit. Maybe they have something cooking. I mean, because seeds 6 through 8 are dogfighting in the East. Can't believe I'm saying that because the Raptors and the Heat are underwhelmingly terrible right now.
And you want to know what's crazy? The Pistons are like one game out of a playoff spot. So, um, and they've only won 3 games, which is the East is kind of bad this year. It is. It's not as dominant.
The East has been pretty bad for a pretty long time.
I wouldn't. I mean, last year I feel like there were like teams that were above, like the Bucks. It felt like they were like the Warriors almost. And teams like the Sixers and the Celtics. But almost every team has shown that they have the ability to lose. So
yeah, I mean, in the East, you see a lot of vulnerability. I mean, when Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics are only scoring 75 points in a game, 75 points in an NBA game against the Knicks. The Knicks held you to 75 points.
it's
Drew.
Hey, the Knicks are kind of good. I will give them that. Julius Randle has gone really. He's proved to be a very good signing.
Yeah, but dude, seriously, the East is so weird. I don't know who's gonna get in. We might see the Charlotte Hornets with LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges. I doubt that the Magic get in because we've lost 5 in a row, and I think we should just tank.
Wow, went from all the way up there to oh no.
I mean, unless somebody can give me a surprise. I mean,
hey, you know what? I was really big on Jordan Bone coming out of college. Obviously, played a very big role in Tennessee. The Pistons eventually scooped him up in the second round with a trade from the Sixers, and they let him go. And now the Magic have him. I really hope he succeeds. I saw him playing against the Nets actually, and I really hope he plays well. I think he had the fastest sprint at the combine the other year, so he's a very good player, very explosive player. I hope he is a good replacement for Markelle Fultz at the moment.
yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with Fultz, man. It's unfortunate, but it's frustrating at the same time because it's like, dude, why can we not just stay healthy?
Yeah, all of your young players who had signed massive contracts in the offseason have gotten hurt. But back to the Cavs real quick. I wanted to talk about how this trade made no sense to me in getting Jared Allen because let me name you all of their centers. And I know them off the top of my head. I don't even need to look this up. Think about this. Kevin Love, Jared Allen, Andre Drummond, JaVale McGee. Who else is there? Larry Nance Jr. It's crazy. It's crazy. Why do you need that many centers?
That's a handful.
Oh, wait, Thon Maker.
Oh my gosh, that's 6.
Why? Like, that makes literally no sense to me. One of them has to be traded. I mean, I kind of presume that Kevin Love would want to get out of there as soon as possible. If I were him, I would. Andre Drummond, I don't see him being a long-term player with the Cavs after getting Jared Allen, who it definitely has the potential to become one of the best centers in the league. And then after that, Thon Maker, kind of a journeyman. He's going to be all over. Larry Nance Jr., I feel like he could be productive for maybe a team like Uh, maybe a Western Conference team.
Yeah,
I don't
Western
know.
that needs a backup or something.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like because he is a very good productive player, but other than that, I don't know why you need 6 centers. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get unless you're gonna just trade somebody right after a trade.
Someone has to be gone at the
Yeah,
deadline. Someone is. I definitely could see it being Andre Drummond because now you basically got your future center in Jared Allen because
yeah. All just imagine all those guys fighting for playing time. That's not gonna be healthy for a team, man.
it makes no sense at all.
It just doesn't. And when I'm building a team, bro, I'm picking 3 players for each position.
Yeah.
It's like starter, backup, and maybe bench warmer.
Uh,
That,
reserve for injury.
yeah, something like that, bro. But you just 6 centers. I mean, get a forward, get another guard, maybe.
And that makes no sense to me either because it seems like the Cavs like to pile up on positions because I remember they drafted Colin Sexton and then the next draft they draft Darius Garland.
Garland.
Back-to-back point guards makes no sense to me. I mean, I know Darius Garland's probably playing the shooting guard position, but it I don't know. It makes no sense to me. I would not do what they're doing. But hey, if they're gonna make the playoffs this year, I guess it's all right.
Yeah, I guess if you're going somewhere, I don't know. I don't know about this Cavs franchise. It's like LeBron James was their only shining light, and
And
then
always
after that,
has been and always probably will be. Without LeBron, they're probably not going to do anything, to be honest with you.
and Cavs jerseys might not even be that relevant.
Mm-mm.
Let's be real.
Exactly.
This is mind boggling. I mean, there's teams that are doing good, but I mean, the top 5 is airtight. I mean, the Bucks are 9-4, and they're in first place in the East. But the Nets are number 5, but they're only a game and a half back at 8-6. That's how airtight this is. In between is the Celtics, Sixers, and Pacers.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all by that. I do think that the Bucks are by far the best and most productive from front to back. I do think they are going to probably, obviously, make it past the first round. Who knows? Watch them get upset. But I do think that this is as good of a chance as they've had to, win it all. It's weird. I mean, I'm not surprised. Like I said, I could see the Celtics being number 2. They got Peyton Pritchard, who's been very good draft pick out of Oregon. The Sixers, I mean, I've always been kind of up and down with them because, in my opinion, we really have not seen the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid duo work to its fulfillment because both of those 2 players are all-stars. Both of those 2 players are superstars, and they haven't been able to do anything. And obviously, the Nets, we know that they have 2 fantastic scorers and James Harden and Kevin Durant, but who knows what's going to happen with Kyrie? I would assume he's going to come back, but who knows with him?
Ben Simmons is a big reason why I wanted James Harden to get traded to the Sixers. Ben Simmons has got to go, in my opinion. It's time for the Sixers to let go of Ben Simmons, in my opinion. He just can't do. I mean, he just can't do that much. In my opinion, the guy can't shoot. The guy doesn't want to shoot.
And when he does, it's an air ball.
I mean, Ben Simmons is. I don't know. I've lost faith. I'm sorry, but the process cannot be trusted anymore with Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, really, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Magic Johnson. Definitely not for his shooting ability because he's a facilitator. I mean, all he can do is drive and pass and make contested layups, and that's, I mean, and he's an oversized guard as well. I mean, I feel like he would fit with a very explosive team. Maybe I was gonna say the Lakers, but that might be interesting as well because he's kind of almost similar to LeBron minus the shooting a little bit. Very good facilitator, like I said, passing, and then obviously scoring inside the paint. But I don't know. I probably agree with you. He's really. I wouldn't call him overrated because he is a good player, but he just needs some more assets to fully be that superstar player.
yeah, not necessarily overrated, but just underwhelming.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk so much about the Eastern Conference. It's just like, I mean, I'm glad the East is relevant because obviously we know about the Western Conference and how good it is. You know, with the West, this is starting to piece together a little bit. Obviously, we pictured Lakers Clippers 1-2. Okay, that's pretty much predictable. What that's basically what we saw. But you know, who would be the teams under the Lakers and the Clippers? Well, the Utah Jazz are off to a good start. I mean, I've always had some type of faith in the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell's my favorite player in the league, favorite player in the league by far, and I really like the Jazz. I really do like the Jazz. If I wasn't a fan of the Magic, I'd probably be a fan of the Jazz.
I mean, I kind of feel like their success is kind of expected. I mean, it kind of has to be when you have a player like Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, two players that you have signed to long-term contracts, a lot of money. I mean, it's kind of expected. Mike Conley, I felt like that was a really good trade a few seasons ago to Utah, but I don't know. I saw the most interesting thing that I believe is true.
Oh yeah.
It is the worst thing to be good in basketball. Think about that. If you're a good team, you're not going to be able to get over the hump, and you're not going to be able to have a proper rebuild because you're going to be stuck in the middle. If you're a good team, that's probably the worst place you can be. And I really believe that because the great teams, they're always going to have a chance. Like we got the Lakers and the Clippers and even the Bucks. Other than that, being good is probably the worst thing you can be in the NBA. And I really truly believe that. What are your thoughts? Would you say that's true? Think about it, because let's say a team like I don't know.
How about the Hawks? How about the Hawks back in like the early, like mid 2010s? Because they were a good team, but I mean,
even now, like look at the Pacers. They're not going to be able to beat teams like the Bucks or the Lakers, and they're not going to be able to have a very low draft pick. So they're going to be stuck in that mediocrity until they get that superstar player or get anything working for them. You know what I mean? So if you're good, you're going to be constantly stuck in mediocrity.
I mean, maybe I'll say that's slightly true because there's always free agency that you can use to dig out the best players, even though that's practically a big market sweepstakes.
But do you think at the end of the day, that team would be able to beat a team like the Lakers in the finals or the Bucks? See, that's why it's so interesting to me.
That's the point. That's a good point because it's not like you can maybe get to the second round consistently.
Yeah, you can be good, right?
Yeah,
but you have to be great to be a good team in the NBA, essentially.
Yeah, and maybe if you're lucky, you'll get to the conference finals.
Exactly.
But win the finals. It's just so distant. Like with the Portland Trailblazers, like the Trailblazers have been a consistently good team. Even the Thunder teams,
exactly, consistently good, not great. You get it? That's why I thought it was so interesting because the teams who are consistently good, they're never going to be able to get over the hump.
Yeah, dude. That's a good point because I mean, you're not gonna win the finals, but you'll always make the playoffs. Maybe win a series.
Exactly.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. So I'll say it's kind of true.
Yeah,
I'll say it's true.
I don't know. I felt like that was very accurate because you get good teams like the Sixers, but they're never going to be able to beat teams like the Bucks or the Lakers in the finals. I mean, it's just it's very rare if that were to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe if this was the 2000s, the early 2000s, maybe those teams would be good enough to, great enough to get to the finals and stuff like that. But in an era where super teams are being built, I mean, it's not really their fault. I really do not like the super team stuff. I really don't. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing good about the Nets, creating that Harden Irving Durant super team is that the Nets have never won the finals. And, I would love to see the Nets win the finals.
Yeah. Hey, I'm fine with that too. That's why I kind of like the trade too, because they have been, like I said, they've been good, but they've never been great.
Yeah. And now they're well over great now. They're well over great.
I definitely think they have the chance to, make some noise.
Oh yeah. But, there are some teams out there. You never know. They could try to pull off a little stuff. I mean, Dallas got Kristaps Porzingis back, which is great considering. I mean, they went 500 or something like that without him. Now they're 6-6, and Porzingis is starting to get it going again. And I'm just like, maybe the Dallas Mavericks can make a little push. And then you see the Spurs in there, the Blazers, and it's just like, maybe these teams can make another push.
And kind of talking about the exact opposite. It's kind of sad looking in the West because there's always the teams that are notorious for being so bad, and they're always at the bottom. I mean, you got the Timberwolves and you got the Kings, even New Orleans a little bit, but those are the teams who haven't had great histories whatsoever, and they're always stuck at the bottom year after year. It's sad. I would love to see the Kings make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but their franchise is a dumpster fire, in my opinion. Everyone wants to get traded. They're never going to be able to get anything. I mean, yeah, it's bad. I mean, you hired Luke Walton. I don't know what you expected.
I mean, at least you got Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, that was a very good pick. That was a very, very good pick.
Yeah, at least they got him. But for how long? I don't know.
And I feel like they're wasting Marvin Bagley and De'Aaron Fox, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's just like, dude, such good players. Like these
even
guys.
Buddy Hield.
Yeah, these guys can be studs, man.
It's weird. They can. Those are three good players who are potential all-stars, but they can never get them to click. It's weird.
I almost want to say the Kings are the Houston Texans of the NBA, but the Kings haven't made the playoffs in so long. So
no, I think their drought was probably longer. Or I think it was 2004. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sad to see, and you know what? I mean, we talked about a Warriors-Lakers playoff series, but I mean, obviously, it's not looking all like the most lit thing ever. But you know what? If it's a first round matchup, I'll take it.
I don't see that being close whatsoever.
1 versus 8. I mean, hey, Golden State has history with being the A seed. Dirk, 60-win MVP. Yeah, they have history, but I don't know. We believe Warriors. Yeah. And then I don't know. It's interesting to see the playoff picture turn out. Maybe this is why you say the NBA is your favorite league.
Obviously, it's chaos. It's chaos.
Yeah.
It is. You have no idea what to expect. And I just want to say, I know I have to talk about the Pistons at least once an episode, and it's funny that they have 3 wins, and their 3 wins are against potential playoff teams. They've beaten the Celtics, the Suns, and the Heat.
The Heat.
The Heat.
Okay, I'll hold on to that.
And they blew out the Heat too. That was their biggest win of the season.
20 points, right?
Yep, Blake Griffin had his best game. Jeremy Grant extended his 20-plus point streak to 11. All-star.
Oh my goodness! I mean, what can you say, man? What can you freaking say? You should get easy ones against the Magic. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get easy ones against the Cavs, and then they took us to double overtime and ultimately beat us. I would not count anything easy. I mean, the Pistons did blow out the Heat with the Heat's B team, who had like 10 players out. But the Pistons aren't good. I mean, as much as Jeremy Grant looks good, they're just not good. They don't really have that much talent to work with. They're rebuilding, and I like it.
Okay, I guess I'll leave it at that because I mean we pretty much see where this is going. Pistons obviously rebuilding, but you know what, looking promising. Showing signs of light at the end of the tunnel, man.
Yeah, hey, I like it. If you come into a season with the right expectations, then it shouldn't be that bad.
You talked about expectations. I really am curious. How are you feeling about the Detroit Red Wings?
It's interesting. I mean, for they were able to split against the Hurricanes in their first series of the year, and from the game that started earlier this morning, and their win against the Canes, I do think that they do look a little bit more productive on the offensive side. I mean, defense, it's really up in the air in hockey. I mean, you can't really say how good a defense is because ultimately it's up to the goalie if a goal goes in my opinion. I mean, your defense can be stern and stop them from attacking a lot of the times, but again, it's ultimately basically a one-on-one with the goalie. Nonetheless, I do think that their offense has gotten better, obviously acquiring Bobby Ryan, who was a former second pick in I think 2006 or something draft. Very good player, very productive with Ottawa. I think the Red Wings are better than they were last year. I think they'll probably end up with a top 5 pick, but definitely I think there is room for improvement. I do think they can be a little bit better this year, but obviously I don't see them being the best and make the playoffs. Ultimately, I don't. I think they're heading for another top 5 pick. If they finish with the worst record again, they will get probably the 4th pick because we know the NHL doesn't like the Red Wings and they won't give them the 1st pick.
Well, I don't know, man. The way the Blackhawks are looking, I mean, 15 goals in 3 games. They might beat you to the pick.
I mean, I guess that's what happens when you lose like your goalie who has been there throughout, all of your championship runs and stuff. I mean, I think what's really important is when you have veteran players in a rebuild. I mean, you need those veterans to help the young players grow, and that will ultimately lead to some bit of success.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, both the Blackhawks and the Red Wings used to. I mean, just to think that they like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they used to absolutely butt heads.
Hey, now they're in the same division again.
I mean, how did we get here? They're in the same division now, and after all the smoke they had in the Eastern Conference playoffs and all this stuff, and even it's. Oh boy, it's weird. It is absolutely weird. But you know what? I said that the Red Wings will probably do better, and right now I'm not looking that it's not looking that bad. I mean, hey, the Red Wings might even make the playoffs because they have a weak. No, because look, bro.
Oh,
Their
divisions.
Division
Gotcha.
their division is not the best, and all you need to do to get in the playoffs is be top 4 in your division. Okay, Lightning are pretty much a lock. Maybe the Predators are a lock too. I don't know about the Panthers. I don't know about the Blackhawks. No, the Blue Jackets are We haven't seen the Stars yet. Red Wings could sneak and slip into that 4th spot. I don't know. I don't. I know you don't want. You don't want to hear it.
Hey, I mean, if it happens, it happens. I'd be hyped for any playoff in Detroit, but I just don't see it happening. I don't think the Red Wings are great. I don't think they're good. I wouldn't say they're like terrible, but they're getting there. They're getting there slowly. But I did want to mention there's an entire Canadian division. That's just cool to me. That's just really cool to me. Every single Canadian team are going to be playing each other. There are going to be a ton of fights. That's all I gotta say. A ton of fights.
The home of the brave, right? Wrong. That's the home of the smoke. Home of the punch.
Hey, you like the Oilers and
Flames?
the
Yes!
Oilers and Flames. So now you're gonna get a lot of that this year. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, baby. The best rivalry in the league, in my opinion. Yes, I get to see it. What 7, 8 times? Flames and Oilers. Oh, this is gonna be so cool. Oh baby, yeah, I like that. I like how they align these divisions. All Canada.
I like it.
Oh,
I like that a lot. And it makes sense too because we know how Canada's kind of strict with their their COVID guidelines, so it makes sense. I was surprised they even let them play.
yeah, I know, right? But hey, sticking to our country, you're not gonna come. You're not getting out until you go to the playoffs. If you go to the playoffs,
We'll take it.
We'll take it. I mean, at least 4. Four teams are gonna have to travel to the U.S. Eventually, unless I don't know how they're gonna do the playoff format outside of who gets in. but maybe they do kind of like a March Madness thing where you have, the top four teams in your division battle it out, for, division champion, kind of like how you do regionals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. We'll just have to wait and see. But, it's early in the season, really, really early in the season. And, we're just going to have to see more hockey.
Yeah.
We'll start making our judgments and stuff in like the spring, obviously when we normally would.
Yeah.
Hey, Drew, you want to know something? Alabama won the national championship. Oh, wait, we've seen this story before.
Yeah, I honestly don't think there's much to be said at all. I mean, it's exactly what I expected. I'm sure you kind of expected it coming into the game. It was a blowout from start to finish. It wasn't really competitive at all. I mean, Alabama's offense, explosive as they were the entire season, Ohio State just couldn't really get going. And that's ultimately what happened.
Yeah, I mean, really not, like you said, really not much to say. What else is new?
Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty much what we expected. It's going to look completely different for Alabama next year because, those top four players did, enter the draft and stuff. But as for Alabama, man, Nick Saban, 7 rings. We'll see if that's foreshadowing for Tom Brady, but whatever.
Yeah.
Just man. Shortest segment ever.
Yeah.
Okay, Drew, let's get to MVPs and LVPs. Who is your MVP?
My MVP, I was kind of debating. I mean, I was gonna go with Chad Henne because anything is possible, right? But instead, I decided to go with Andy Reid because I can't remember the last time that I saw a play call that gutsy on 4th and 1 with a chance to go to the AFC Championship. And when you have a backfield that consists of, Le'Veon Bell, a former, probably at one time one of the best running backs in the league, and then you got other players who are very good and played a very good game, and you decide to line up in shotgun. And I personally thought they were gonna try and draw the Browns off sides. Instead, they go in shotgun, throw a little screen, and they get the first down to go and advance in the playoffs. That was bold. That was really bold. You don't see that often. And what Andy Reid did yesterday with his play calls after losing your MVP quarterback, your Super Bowl winning quarterback, and to drop those plays and to coordinate a team, both defensive and offensively. Andy Reid, he was bold, and it proved right. He is a proven winner in the NFL.
Yeah, Andy Reid. I was definitely confused. I'm like, wait, what are they doing? They're not going to QB sneak it. They're not going to try to draw them off sides. I mean, if you're in shotgun, they're not going to just jump off sides. I mean, you're more likely to jump on a QB sneak.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the heck are they doing? And they actually snap it. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. As soon as I saw Tyreek Hill going to his right, I'm like,
game over.
I've seen the play before. I've seen it before. The Chiefs, it's like they're always in a situation where it's a one-score game. They're in a 2-minute drill, and they're leading, and they just run the clock out.
It's so
impressive. They always do that.
And the play calls are so bold. It's so impressive. I think that's what that's why they're so good at it, because no team, is really expecting that, you decide to go shotgun with, with a chance to, advance, and instead they do, and they get it, and they get the first down.
Yeah, I mean, Henny he definitely didn't make up for that interception. That was,
hand punt, arm punt.
Yeah. That was so close. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was bold. Andy Reid definitely got a lot of guts. See, that's a Super Bowl winning coach call right there.
Yep.
That's that championship type of stuff.
Exactly.
We'll see what he brings against the Bills. Speaking of the Bills, I got to give my MVP to the Bills Mafia because throughout the postseason, they made their presence felt. And I could easily say that somebody on the Bills team, was the MVP, or the Bills defense was the MVP against Lamar Jackson, this and that. But you know what? I'm giving it to the Bills Mafia. I'm giving it to the Bills fans because they deserve this. After 25 years of frustration and agony and losing and not being competitive and stuff like that, they showed up in their first postseason wins in 25 years, made their presence felt, and beat two really, really prestigious AFC teams in the Ravens and the Colts. Two, teams with a lot of history.
Yeah.
And for the Bills to do that, the Bills Mafia has my MVP award.
Hey, and what we saw, remember at the goal line, they literally, it was 3 straight penalties on the Ravens, 2 false starts, and then 1 holding, and they were loud. They were loud.
Yeah, you can't tell me the Bills Mafia didn't have an impact on that. And they got loud, they got rowdy. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. They're jumping, they're bumping. It feels like 67,000 and not 6,700. It's just like, oh,
best
baby.
fan base in the NFL
By far, and they still found ways to tailgate too. Oh my gosh!
Hey, you gotta get the tables out.
Amazing. Oh, you could just you can only imagine if it was full capacity. Oh, one day, Drew. One day. Yeah. All right, let's get to these LVPs. Who is your LVP?
Mine is the entire Texans organization. Because what are they doing? They're letting a future. I would say, I don't know. I wouldn't say a Super Bowl winner, because it's kind of reminded me of the Matthew Stafford situation. You got this good quarterback, and you really can't do anything to put pieces around him. Can't even hire the coach that he wants. And it's ultimately leading for him to get traded at some point or another. A lot of people think it's his last snap in a Texans uniform. I mean, they're just handling it terribly, not even getting his word on who he wants as a coach, and that's very important when you're trying to keep one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL on your team. And what they're doing is just they're handling it really, really poorly.
Yeah, it's sad to see, because Deshaun Watson is my favorite quarterback in the league by far. You pretty much already noticed. I know you really see me praise Trace McSorley, but obviously we'll stick to the starting quarterbacks, of course. The way the Texans have done this man dirty, man, I don't know if the Bears needed Deshaun Watson more than Deshaun Watson needed the Bears, or somebody not named the Houston Texans. Because right now, Deshaun Watson and Mitchell Trubisky are now in the same boat, but for completely different purposes, of course.
Yeah.
Trubisky sucks. This is sad. This is so sad to see where they come from. And Deshaun Watson just signed an extension last year. And I gotta figure out when's the last time a player signed an extension on one offseason and then might get traded the very next offseason.
Will you finally get your dream of him coming to Chicago, or
at the cost of more than just our own first round pick, maybe?
Dude,
thanks a lot, Ryan Pace.
I think, because I think he wants to go to Miami. And I heard some reports of a lot of Dolphins players saying that they don't think Tua really has a high ceiling, and they're questioning his talent. So who knows? We might get Deshaun Watson in Miami.
Now, I think Deshaun Watson is better than Tua.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If Tua's Miami's guy, then Tua's Miami's guy. And I mean, Brian Flores doubled down on his support for Tua. So I doubt that we'll get a Watson for Tua type trade, but I could easily see him going to either the Saints or the Steelers. I really could. Two quarterbacks. I mean, two teams with major question marks around.
Hey, what about Matthew Stafford?
Deshaun Watson to the Lions.
Oh gosh, I actually saw a lot of Lions fans say that they want that to happen. That's literally like I wouldn't say a lose-lose trade, but that's basically Russell Westbrook for John Wall. You're getting the same player essentially. Two people who have had terrible franchises around them, who have been a really really good quarterbacks, but they just can't do anything. That's really what the trade is.
Like you can't trade franchise for franchise. You can only trade player for player.
You're getting the same player out of both, essentially.
Yeah, you need to build around them.
Yeah.
See, that would be tough. If Deshaun Watson does get traded, I hope he goes somewhere good, somewhere. I mean, not somewhere. I won't say somewhere like where they're already, a winning team, but maybe somewhere, I don't know. We'll have to wait to see, man. I mean, there's a lot of places he can go. Obviously, a lot of there's the front runners, but I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
All I know is that the Texans, they better get a good package this time. If they do trade Deshaun Watson, they better get a better package than they did for D-Hop.
You would hope so.
Okay.
You would hope so.
You would think so, right? If I hear that they trade Deshaun Watson for a fourth-round pick and a garbage tight end, bro, oh my gosh, this franchise is going to be the most cringe. Oh my gosh. Oh, I might have to pull the plug on these boys.
Hey, you're right. You are right. But what about your LVP? Who are you picking?
My LVP has got to be the Ravens front office. I know we might not look at the Ravens and be like, oh, what a dumpster fire organization. These guys suck. I mean, they've actually done a pretty good job of building around their defense.
Yeah.
Keyword, building around their defense. Their offense, I mean, that team is only going to go as far as Lamar Jackson's legs take them. And his legs can't take him that far. And as people have shown time and time again, when you make Lamar Jackson a pocket passer, that's how you beat the Ravens. You saw him against the Bills, man. They couldn't really run the football like that outside of the first drive of the game.
Yeah.
They really couldn't. They couldn't get the ball. They couldn't move the ball through the air. They really couldn't. And the Ravens did a terrible job of building an offense around Lamar Jackson, getting him a true number one wide receiver. Des Bryant can't do that anymore. Marquise Hollywood Brown is not exactly a bona fide number one. Mark Andrews is a tight end. He can't be a number one receiver. It's just like the Ravens front office has done such a poor job of giving Lamar Jackson the weapons on offense that he needs on the receiving end. He's got the running backs. The running backs have been chill. Mark Ingram has been decent. You know what I'm saying? Gus Edwards is decent. J.K. Dobbins is really good. But, man, you got to give him some receivers, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? The number one receiver they should be going after this free agency, Allen Robinson. Okay?
Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
They need a guy like Allen Robinson who is a bona fide number one because none of the receivers on the Ravens really scare you. It's not like, okay, Marquise Brown is fast. Okay, he's fast. I mean, Tyreek Hill is fast. I mean, he's productive. But, dude, it's not like they had the 31st ranked passing attack in the league. That is abysmal. You cannot win playoff games just by relying on the run game. You can rely on the run game to set up the pass game, but if you don't have a pass game, dude, I mean, look, you know why the Bills, the Bucks, the Packers, and the Chiefs are still standing? Because they have prolific passing attacks and running games that can set up the pass. They're gonna keep hearing the Lamar can't throw. This Lamar's a running back. They're gonna keep hearing it until they get their hands on the number one receiver, and that is why the Ravens front office is my LVP.
That is a very fair assumption. I do think that they do need a productive wide receiver, not just a deep threat or a screen and go wide receiver, but a wide receiver that's very productive and can do everything. Go across the field, go deep, anything you want. I do think that they need a better and more productive number one wide receiver. Marvin Jones.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Going across to the rivals, that would be hilarious. Then he's going to get clowned by his own teammates.
Dude, that would be so... That's infamy. That would be Pittsburgh Steelers infamy right there.
Clowning your opposition and then going to your opposition. I would. That's why he needs to stop, because wherever he goes, he's going to get clowned.
Especially if it's within the division. Because everybody hates the Steelers now within the division. You know, we all know about the Ravens and the Steelers rivalry. That's one of the most prolific rivalries ever. The Bengals and the Steelers, yeah, they've definitely had their beef, especially when games are played in Cincinnati. You saw it this past month on Monday Night Football. Von Bell, yeah, we know that. And then, oh boy, Big Boy Browns. We're the same old Browns, huh? Same old Browns. Nope. I can just imagine Juju getting clowned if he went to any of those three teams. The Ravens, you're a traitor. The Bengals, you're a traitor. The Browns, weren't you just calling them the same old Browns? Oh my gosh. Chase Claypool's going to be like
making TikToks and stuff.
Oh my God. Corvette to Baltimore. Corvette to Cincinnati to Cleveland. Oh my gosh. I can't wait till free agency. Oh my gosh.
It's going to be crazy.
Gonna be so many questions. Oh my gosh. Oh. And that's another thing I want to bring up just a little bit. If the Bears do let Trubisky go, where does he go? Who picks him up?
I
don't know.
I can tell you.
I mean, maybe he's going to have to take the Jameis Winston path and become a backup. You know,
I could see it happening.
Yeah, because right now Nick Foles is the only guy we got under contract. My plan would to be draft a quarterback, have Nick Foles back him up, coach him up, season him and stuff like that, show him how it's done and stuff, get the rookie's feet wet, and go from there.
So essentially, what the Lions should do. Yeah.
But we all know the Bears are the Bears, and they bring bad news. So, and they don't think like me. So, or any of their fans for that matter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's that. Okay, let's get to trivia. You had a Michigan State question for us last week?
Yeah, I did, and it's funny because I was hoping this number would change, but Michigan State hasn't, played a game in forever, and they probably won't for a while. My question was, in the last 10 years, Michigan State University has the third most wins over ranked teams with how many?
This was over the last decade.
I said double digits as a hint.
How about 37?
You were kind of close. You were about 20 off exactly. So 57.
57 wins, dang.
Over 8. That's why year after year I say Michigan State always has the hardest schedule. Being in the Big Ten and then always playing in the Champions Classic and then in Maui or whatever tournament they play in, they're always going to have to face multiple ranked teams. And over the past 10 years, they have faced 57 or more than 57, obviously, but have had wins over 57 ranked teams.
Huh. Wow, that's a lot. I know Michigan State basketball is pretty historic.
Yeah.
Has some pretty good history, especially over the last 2 decades. But man, 57 ranked wins over the past 10 years. Dang.
Yeah. Man, that's only the third most. Imagine, number 1, number 2. I'm probably assuming it's probably like Kentucky, Duke, maybe North Carolina. Like it has to be.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that was a pretty interesting trivia question. College basketball obviously brings up some crazy trivia. We've definitely taken advantage of that. But I'm going to shift my trivia question to the NFL. And I'm going to ask you, so the Bills and the Chiefs are playing for the AFC title, and the Bucks and the Packers are playing for the NFC title. Both of these games are rematches from earlier this season. So my question is, when was the last time that both conference championship games were rematches of games from earlier in the season?
That is a tough one. I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna guess. How about 13 years ago?
I was about to say you. I was about to say if you milk you sometimes milk the crap out of 2004.
Hey, I have to. Good year. No, I'm gonna go 13 years ago for whatever reason. I don't know. It's 13 years ago is my guess. Could be last year. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be anything. I mean, it's very rare. It has to be very rare because it's like both games are rematches. And funny thing is, and this has nothing to do with the question, but not only that, but both of these games were week 6 matchups. Both of these teams played each other in week 6. Both of these.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That is very weird.
Yeah. I found that very interesting. I was looking back at the schedules. I see week 6. I'm seeing Chiefs at Bills and Packers at Bucks. I'm like, huh. Interesting.
Yeah, that is quite odd, I will say. Like you said, very rare, but I have no idea when it happened last.
Yeah, something to figure out, something to think about, right?
Sure is. Like you say, I'm gonna have to do my research.
Oh yeah, the medicine is really good. But yeah, dude. Obviously, we talked about it a lot, but I'm starting to cut down on the time, a little bit as we start to, get past the NFL and into more in the NBA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm assuming next week's normal Sunday episode should be a little bit quicker. I would assume not too much to talk about, obviously, and then we got NHL, NBA heating up, even college basketball a little bit. So hey, I'm excited. I'm excited for sports.
Yeah, and then the week after that, we probably don't have too much to say about the Pro Bowl this year, right?
No, not at all. Hey, at least T.J. Hawkinson and Frank Ragnow, and my boy, the best punter in the league, Jack Fox, Pro Bowl rookie year.
Jack Fox. I heard his name when I was watching a Lions game one time on bonus coverage, and it was just like, huh, that's a pretty good punter.
He's very good. He's very good. Very, very, very good punter. Very good pickup as well as a rookie as well. I mean, impressive.
Yeah, that's a keeper, right?
Yeah, it is. But hey, same time next week.
Oh yeah, and then we'll be going back to Sundays too. We have a short week, you could say, but you know what? We'll always be well rested. But you know what? Let's get through this outro. All right. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, give us that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or whatever streaming device you're using to listen to Top of the Standings. Give us a like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, the big 3.5. But you know what? This has been Top of the Standings, episode 23. MJ, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.